coordinator for new media technology.
That's correct.
And James has done some research about motivating students in the classroom, so we're delighted to welcome you, James. Thank you for being here.
Basically, I'm just going to start off. I know we're running out of time, so I want to make sure that I don't take too much time going through this. I've been program coordinator here at LaGuardia for about, don't worry about it. I got my notes here. I can work
Oh,
off
but
of it.
you know what? I bet you they'd like to see it.
Sure.
There we go, we got it. It's the new media.
The new media program is basically web development, digital video, digital audio, all the cool, sexy internet technology. I wanted to put together a presentation based on motivating students. One of the things that I've had the benefit of working with this new technology is that when students generally come to my class, they're usually very excited about it. So one of the things that I've been trying to do is to document exactly how the motivational aspects of new media, as well as any technology-based program, can help motivate non-traditional students towards academic success. I put together an article which was recently published, and I wanted to just kind of cover some of the salient points that I kind of came about in the research that I've done. I've been working on a Mac too long. I'm just going to skip through this. I gave you a little bit about who I am. According to Desi and Ryan, these are two social scientists out of the University of Rochester. The research that they did showed that all human motivation can be allocated to three main categories: intrinsic motivation, extrinsic motivation, and amotivation. Generally, all of our students, all human beings fall into those three categories. Intrinsic motivation is basically the process where individuals are spurred on to action without promise of external rewards. Generally, these are the people who gain general satisfaction by doing a good job. So they need no other motivation other than their own personal satisfaction or joy that they get from doing this. Examples of extrinsic motivation might be a musician, for example, who plays the music that he loves just because he loves it, not because he's looking to get famous or to gain groupies or adoration from his fans. Extrinsic motivation is generally people who are motivated by promise of some type of reward. They see some benefit in doing a good job in terms of it benefiting them in the long run. An example of extrinsic motivation would be the student, the young child whose parents promises them an iPad if they get an A in their course. So they're motivated to do well because they're trying to reward themselves. Amotivation, and this is where many of the students that we have here sometimes may fall into. These are students who tend to avoid acting sometimes in their best interest because they don't either see value in whatever the course material is, or they lack the self-confidence in order to basically believe in themselves enough that they can achieve. Examples of student motivation we see here quite a bit. Students generally with low self-esteem. They might not feel that they have the smarts or the quote-unquote language skills in order to succeed in a given class. As a result, they don't participate. As a result, sometimes they'll attend class and then midway through the semester they disappear and you don't see them again. There are other aspects, particularly here at a school like LaGuardia, where we have so many different ethnic groups. And this is sometimes things that people don't want to discuss, but there's an impact on race and culture in terms of what motivates students. And this was something for me as a black man was very important for me to look at. Looking at some of the black male students who sometimes weren't as motivated with traditional education as I would have liked, but then I saw them basically start to grow and foster when dealing with new media and with technology that I particularly loved. And I was one of those students when I was coming up, so I understood exactly what their motivational aspects were. I was a little bit different. Instead of new media at the time, I was an athlete. So that's what spurred me on to basically. Some of the factors that we have listed here from the Pew Hispanic Center. Hispanics currently have the highest dropout rate, around 17%, which is nearly double that of African Americans, which is 9%, which is very high. And compared to whites, which is 6%, Asians are even lower. I believe the Asian rate, and I didn't put it there, I apologize, I believe it's somewhere around 3 or 4. Some of the factors for these ethnic disparities: language barriers, anti-immigrant perceptions, greater financial responsibilities for taking care of families, and the effort, and this is one of the ones that's very prevalent, to balance cultural identity against the need to integrate into mainstream society, acting white as opposed to being Latino. African Americans have similar issues, some different, but along the same track. Historically, African Americans have been shut out of higher education. So there's kind of a long-term, I was one of the first people in my family to go to college. So it's been one of these generational issues that hasn't been as strongly addressed as it needs to be. And sometimes it can be kind of ingrained. These barriers begin with slavery and go all the way up, arguably, to the native of the civil rights movement. I still say that there are still challenges and hurdles that we still have to overcome. Some of the factors impacting African American motivation: some of the soft bigotries of low expectations, to borrow a phrase from President Bush. He was right, at least about that one thing. In terms of sometimes we don't expect as much from some of our black students as and I've seen it even as a black professor, when people basically stop and say, well, he's so articulate, which is kind of a backhanded compliment. What did you expect? Anyway, fear of not being good enough. One of the things that I see with a lot of African American males is that despite some of the bravado, sometimes it's deeply ingrained that they don't feel that they might not be capable. They bought into the hype. It's kind of hard to be around a lot of images, negative images, and not have that sometimes seep in. So these are some of the things we need to combat. And definitely the last one, balancing cultural identity, acting white, versus being black. What does that mean? And how does that play out in terms of education and academia? Countering the low motivation, mapping a new plan to re-engagement. What's important, what I found it is important to do, is to identify what each student values. Find out what speaks to them, what motivates them, what gives them joy, what are they passionate about. Find a way to bring those aspects, integrate that into the curriculum, integrate that into the classroom somehow. One of the reasons why I've been very lucky is that technology is something that a lot of them want to do. I had the opportunity to basically show them video games, teach them how to design their own games, design their own videos, design their own music CDs and so forth, websites. So it's easier, a little bit easier for me. But a lot of those same things, the technology can be integrated into your classrooms as well. The ultimate goal of the re-engagement plan is to help move students up Deci and Ryan's self-determination theory scale, which we mentioned at the very beginning. Countering low motivation, pushing them up the scale. Most of the students that we see that are amotivational, we generally see them here. The guide is to basically move them up from giving them confidence, allowing them to see the benefit of doing well, and then hopefully getting it ingrained enough in them that they start to feel passion and they do it without the need of the reward. So we need to create curriculums that are nurturing, that basically helps them to succeed. And I'm not saying being soft on them, but give them the confidence, tie the curriculum into the things that they're passionate and motivated towards, that gives them enjoyment, and integrate those or tie those to the core curriculum that we need in order for them to be successful. Once they start to gain a little bit of their confidence, make students understand the rewards. What are the benefits of doing well? And a lot of the students that I deal with, it's a monetary thing. If I show them, here's how you basically design a website, and here's how you can turn around and sell that website for $2,000, $3,000 on a freelance basis, then all of a sudden it becomes, wait a minute, this is not useless, this is something that I can use to get X, Y, or Z, the things that they're passionate about. The benefit or the challenge that I have is to make sure that while I point out to them the monetary and status-based possibilities, that I also tie it directly to the curriculum and to the core items in my curriculum that will help them think critically, be technically competent, to speak and write proficiently. Tie those to the core curriculum that the college itself is trying to push forward. There's always going to be students who are going to have issues or don't respond to the first two. And this is when sometimes you have the carrot and the stick. We talked about basically the initial part is the carrot. Here are the benefits, here's what you can achieve. For the students who don't master the competencies, you have to let them know this is what's going to happen if you don't perform. They have to understand how failure to perform well will directly impact upon them in terms of careers, future, job opportunities, mates, sometimes. Especially for a lot of the males that I know, your girlfriend's not going to want to go out with you if you never have any money. These tied to direct things that all of a sudden it becomes, wait a minute, maybe I need to pay more attention to this. The last part is hopefully if the other 3 steps work well, step 4 will hopefully move them towards feeling pride in their accomplishments. And there's nothing more rewarding for me as a professor to see students who will come back to you years later and say, you know what, I know you were rough on me, I know you know, but bottom line, what you did helped me to get this job, to get along this path. And they have a sense of pride and they come back and show you their work. And a couple of students I've had who have come back with certain programs that I taught them initially and who now are much better than I am. Don't tell them I said that. And that's rewarding. I'm trying to get a couple of them to come back and actually speak, but that's another issue.
It's all right, James. I've had students who make more money than I do.
You and me both, but that's not saying I'm going to try you. In conclusion, what I want to say is, as we design new curricula, educators need to be mindful of the cultural and societal impacts on our students, and how new mediums like technology can be leveraged to re-engage them, to pull them back into the academic fold. We have an unprecedented opportunity to reconnect with these students who many times have fallen by the wayside. I can't tell you the number of students who hated math, who hated physics, and we start learning how to program video games, and all of a sudden they see why geometry is important, because now that first-person shooter that I want to basically develop, without the correct math involved, I won't be able to hit the target. Or if we're talking about physics-based, that ball, if I throw up in the air in a video game, if it doesn't follow a natural path, it's not going to look realistic, it's going to look cartoonish. So then they start to be able to tie, okay, I need these specific skills in order to do this. So it doesn't become one of those things where the teacher is telling you, I need you to do this just because I said so. They see value in it. They see how it benefits them in the short term and in the long term. I kind of rushed through that, I apologize, but I just wanted to, so if there's any questions, please let me know.
Any questions for James?
Can we get a copy of your PowerPoint?
Sure, most definitely. I'll follow that up. Thank you for listening. Feel free to contact me at jamesrichardson.net. What I will do is I will post a copy of the, I'm videotaping this, by the way, I'm an immediate guy.